I'm James Rod, CEO of Modality Systems.
I'm Justin Morris, Country Manager for Australia at Modality Systems. Yeah, and I think now what we're seeing is that best of breed approach coming forward, where you look at things like the underlying platform and the service, and then the right experiences being exposed to people and the endpoints that they need to achieve that, and that can come from a variety of different vendors. And then I think, to your point around the telephony and the network and different vendors being kind of engaged for those, moving away from more of a silo approach of those areas into more of a sort of a platform above that, and you look at how people are collaborating and the devices that they're using, and then the security overlay and the manageability overlay on top of that as well, and ensuring that that experience and that story and journey is as seamless as possible, and then thinking of the user experience then and the back end, so that if I'm a user, I don't have to log into a single VPN client from one vendor, and then I've got another client for another experience on top of that, because that does create a lot of friction in terms of the person looking at their endpoint, whether it's a laptop or a mobile, and they just want to get their job done at the end of the day. And so removing that friction and making that as seamless as possible, because a big
I was going to stop you midway through that because that was getting too technical. From my point of view, and I think everybody's user expectations, they just want it to work. This assumption of connectivity and this assumption of whatever it is you need is just available from the cloud or from the data center. It's software that's available for you to deliver your job, and that's quite key. And so that puts a different added pressure onto the IT organisations, the finance organisations, and operationally within organisations, just to say, how do we create this seamless working process that benefits our business? And it puts it's a real business analyst spin, and they've existed in companies for years now. It's just now it's across every element of it. You have to consider security, you have to consider compliance, you have to consider the pressure that companies have when it comes to recruitment. What you're able to do now on your smartphones, and just with the likes of Alexa and Google, all these kind of speech recognition systems that allow you to control your fridge and your oven and your shopping so swiftly. How do you replicate some of that in the corporate enterprise space when you've got security, predominantly security, when you've got controlled access, when you've got different countries potentially with different regulation, and trying to bring that free openness of the true social world into the corporate space is not an easy task. And that's where you look at these products, and I say back to the big kind of product trend of the year and the big disruptive announcements, the likes of Microsoft and Teams, and we mentioned Slack and some of the others, they are really forcing organisations to think differently. And it's not easy. I think that's what's quite key. And it's very hard for not only the customers to figure out how to make that work for them, but also for the supplier estate. You look at organisations like us, even 2 years ago, we had kind of one or two core products, available from Microsoft to work with to drive business value, and now we've got a lot more. You've got the whole productivity suite, you've got the whole communication suite, this whole social suite, the pressures on security. So we've had to adapt incredibly quickly. We cannot sit back and just focus on one product and one vendor, and that's going to be the answer to everything. And so if we feel that, and we're an incredibly dynamic business, some of these organisations in the world that technology is not the point and reason of being. They deliver what they need to deliver, be it finance, be it public sector, be it healthcare, be it account, whatever it could be, manufacturing and so on. They've got their objectives and their goals, and so it's down to companies like us to help them figure out from a vertical perspective as well as a technology platform, so that they don't end up with anything that's so unique. They don't. It's very difficult to manage and maintain, and there's not a lot of flexibility, to something what is just completely cloud access, and everybody's got exactly the same thing. I think that's quite key. And probably just to wrap up on 2017 and the successes and big trends in the market, successes for us and trends have been, because there's so much technology available as a service, as we mentioned, infrastructure and software, and you see there's everything's as a service these days, but because that's huge pressure, then that's a common platform. And I've been caught on video before talking about why that's difficult for companies. It wasn't so long ago we all talked to CFOs and heads of finance and heads of operations about how technology becomes a differentiator, how you can use technology to differentiate yourself in your market from your competitors. That goes away if you just buy the same solution from the same cloud that your local competitor has. And so it's where you have these additional components, the third-party ecosystems come through, tool sets from companies like us that add to it, that make it more personal. It's not customized anymore, because it's got to be accessible from the cloud, so I prefer the phrase personal. It's personalised to you, but it's built from a common platform, so that you're not having to cover the costs of something that's completely bespoke and therefore very proprietary. That's gone away, so therefore it's not customised anymore, it is personalised. And that, as we kind of wrap up towards the end of 2017 and start building out for 2018, I think we'll talk a bit about that in a second. That for me has been the biggest thing that's affected our part of the industry. I'm looking forward to seeing where that will take us in 2018.
Yeah, and I think to your point there, and the industry focus and that common platform, Microsoft's language around that has always been it's configurable, not customizable. So that experience is available for you out of the box. But if you're in healthcare or you're in finance or travel or something like that, you then want to be able to provide an experience from the cloud to your staff that then is customized to the work that they need to do in their process. I think that's the value that we come with that industry exposure over those 10 years to say, okay, if you've got people working in travel stores, they need to be able to process orders from people and book experiences. And so giving them something that's built from the cloud that pulls through that IP that you've already got, but exposes it at the right time for them, I think is something that we've seen in this later stage of 2017, and I think is going to become even more a relevant trend moving into next year.
Yeah, absolutely.